How are you all? I hope my all students are good. I hope everyone is doing good. Everyone is enjoying life. I hope I really wish that everyone is doing nice in your life. Okay, so welcome back to the class of the synthetic fiber and plastic, and I hope that there is no need of my introduction again because you know that I'm your chemistry teacher. Fine. So yes, and I also hope that my students have watched last video of this chapter in which we have discussed about the synthetic fibers, that what are the synthetic fibers, and we have discussed about what I hope my students remember all those things like which we have discussed in the last session, that we have discussed about what are the fibers and what are the synthetic fibers, and we have come to know something about their advantages and their disadvantages. Exactly, student. So I think you have done all of these. Okay, so students, now today what we are going to do is we are going to take our chapter somewhat to the next step. Like we have done some of the synthetic fiber. Like I have told you the name of some of the synthetic fiber in the last session. There was rayon, there was nylon, there was many other synthetic fiber which we have studied about and their advantages and disadvantages as well. So students, now today what the topics we are going to cover is that we are going to discuss again about the characteristics of the synthetic fibers, rayon, nylon, terylene, orlon, acrylic. All these are the synthetic fibers. So we are going to discuss these fibers here, students. Okay. So are you ready to start this session, or are you ready to listen this video with a great interest? Because students, the chapter is very interesting, that you are going to learn so much from it. What can I say, that whenever after studying this chapter and whenever you are going to purchase any cloth for yourself or for your mother or for your father, you are going to identify, okay, which fabric is that. Isn't it nice? Like you are going to some shop and you are going to purchase new clothes and you want woolen clothes. Okay, so what the thing is, then you'll tell your mother that mummy, it's not a pure wool, it is that artificial wool, the name of that artificial wool is this. Or you are going to tell her that mummy, it's rayon. So your mother or your father will become so much proud of it, that okay, my child or my what can I say, that okay, child then my child is learning so much from those videos that they can exactly apply in their daily life. Okay, so starting with the class. So like in the last class I have told you this thing, that what are the synthetic fibers. So we have discussed that what are the synthetic fibers and what are the other names of the synthetic fiber. Do you remember it, that what we say for the synthetic fibers, what is synthetic, what are the other two names of the synthetic fiber? So, in the last session, we have discussed that the fibers are of two types. Two types means that one is the natural one and one is the synthetic one. Now, students, in the synthetic fiber, we are going to study some different type of synthetic fibers. Okay, so synthetic fibers are man-made fibers. So we can say that the another name of the synthetic fiber is the man-made fibers, and we can also say it as artificial fibers. Exactly, that means we are making them, we are somewhat we are getting the sources and we are getting alternating from, and we are what we can say, that we are manipulating them or something like that, and then we are getting our fibers from which our clothes are going to be made. Okay, like in the last session we have taken the example of ropes, like the ropes which we are getting made up of the natural material, that from the what we can say, that there are some hemp or flex type of fibers from which we, if we are going to form the rope, so it will not last long, because after some time it is going to be break down very easily. But if we talk about the synthetic fiber rope, do you remember that the last time I have discussed something about nylon also? So the nylon is one of that synthetic fiber which is used to make the ropes, and that ropes are having that much of strength, like they are so strong. Even though the ropes which are made up of nylon, they are used up in the rock climbing. Do you imagine that? Like students, can you imagine this thing, that if you are going to climb any rope and you are using nylon rope in that case, so you can imagine that how strong it can be. Fine. So if that kind of rope can handle the pressure of the rope climbing, so the hanging clothes over it is not a big deal. Exactly, you got my point. So, starting with our lecture, starting with our first topic of today's class, that is the characteristics of synthetic fiber. So, I hope my students remember this thing, that in the last class we have discussed so many things about the synthetic fibers and their characteristics also. Like, what are the advantages we are getting from it? So, students, if I'm not wrong, that we can see here that the synthetic fibers, what we have seen that in one of the fiber we have discussed that the silk which we are getting from silkworm, it was more costly, that everyone can't afford it, and it was also not easily available. So that is why scientists has made an alternate of it, and they produce what? So can you remember what is the artificial silk? Artificial silk. And in the last class I have discussed this also, that the name of the artificial silk. So the answer is rayon, and I hope that you have also thought about rayon only. That the rayon is the artificial silk, and it is less costly, or you can say that it is cheaper than the pure silk, which we get from the silkworm. So we can say that these synthetic fibers are cheaper, more durable. For example, if we talk about nylon ropes, so they, like the ropes for which we are using in our houses, if they are made up of nylon fiber, so they are last longing. Okay, it's not like that after 10 days or 15 days they are going to be breakdown, but it's like that they are last longing. Okay, second thing, we can say that the fibers, synthetic fibers which we are getting, they are fire resistant and they are more cheaper. And even though we can say that there are so many characteristics, so we can see here that what can be the characteristics of it. So synthetic fibers are cheaper than natural fibers. Exactly, they are more stronger. So the second point can be that they are more stronger. Fine. They are more durable. I have discussed all of these points with you. Okay, and they dried up in the less time, even though last time I have shown you one of the video, if you watched that last session video, and if you remember some points from it, I have shown you one video in which there is one girl, her brother and her mother, and her mother wants to tie up that rope, and she want to hang the clothes over it so that the clothes can get dried. But it was a rainy season, due to which, that due to the absorption of the water, that rope gets break down. Exactly. So the students, the ropes which we made from the natural fibers, they have the tendency to absorb the water, due to which their strength becomes weak. But if we talk about nylon ropes, so the water, so they are not absorbing the water, that means water has no effect over it. That means if the rain is coming, or if you are hanging your wet clothes over it, so the water is not having any reaction over it. What my point? So that means they are, that you can say that they have some water over it, but they are drying up very easily. Okay, and they are also easy to maintain also. So that is why, student, we say that these are the characteristics of the synthetic fiber. And I hope my students, like if in your exam or in your school, if someone asks you that what are the characteristics of the synthetic fiber, so you can mention all of these points. I hope my students can do that, isn't it? That's very nice. Okay, and I hope you liking my videos and you are getting interest toward these lecture. Fine, students. Now moving towards the next topic. So what is the next topic? So students, now one by one we'll discuss each and every synthetic fiber which is in your syllabus, and then we'll complete with this session, that which we are having only for the fibers. Okay, but I'm not going that so early. It will take some time to discuss. Okay, so please have patience, because we'll see some interesting videos and we'll discuss more about many things. And even those students, if what I'll try every time, I try to mention most of the time where, that examples which relates with daily life. So students, because these are the that kind of chapters that you can also relate very easily. Exactly, and I hope you all are getting it, that you can also relate with it, even though uh, at the time of when you are seeing this video or watching this video, so many points also come in your mind, that okay, it can be the point, or this can be the point. So that's how you can also think about it. Okay, So first of all, starting with the rayon. So student never ever forgot this thing that the rayon, what is rayon? Rayon is the artificial silk. Okay, so now why we are calling it as the artificial silk? See students, that the silk which we are getting from the silkworm, it is very costly, and even though it is not easily available, so that what the scientists thought that they create the alternate of it, so that it will not that much costly and everyone can get it. So nowadays, like if I talk nowadays, that it's not like that we are not getting pure silk. There is pure silk, but the if you like if you all ask this question to your mother as well, so she can tell you that a pure silk sari, that if we are going to purchase any pure silk sari, it is having amount of I think not less than 6,000 or 7,000, or even more than that it can cost. But if we are going to purchase any rayon type of, that is the artificial silk cloth, it is not that much costly. It can comes around 2,000 or like that. I don't know the exact figure, but I'm just trying to tell you the difference between the cost of the pure silk and the artificial silk. Okay, so rayon is the artificial silk which we discovered, so that everyone, like if someone is not able to find that silk, pure silk easily, or if someone is not able to afford that, so that they can have that alternate of it. Okay, so that rayon is also made up from the wood pulp, but it is a man-made fiber. Now you'll say, ma'am, how you can say that if we are getting the source of the rayon from the natural resource, so how it can be a man-made fiber? That if we are getting it from wood pulp, so how it is? So students, just we are going to see one of the video related to it, so that you can get idea of it. So just give me a minute, I'll just show you that video and we'll discuss more about it. Okay, just give me a minute. I hope my students are not getting bored of my lecture, because I always try to make those lecture interesting for you, my students. Okay, so here we go. So are you ready to listen this video? Cool. So starting with the video.
May it be the era of kings and queens, or may it be today's modern world, silk has always been the choice of several people for all the wonderful qualities it has. Since ancient times, textile industry has been ruled by silk. However, being in demand does not mean it is easily available and economically viable. Yes, it's not easily available and is expensive.
So students, do you heard the thing that even though like from the time of the, like from the royal time also, when the king and queens were there, so and even though for the modern period time also, the silk is very much favorable, or like that it is very much that people like to wearing the silk clothes, because they are very soft and very like it, they are very royal, they are having very royal look. But it's like that we have seen that the pure silk, that if we talk about pure silk, so the disadvantage of this pure silk is that it is not easily available. First of all, it is not easily available, and second thing, you can say that if it is not easily available, and it is also not economical value, that you can say that it is costly. Okay, so what happened now? See,
this has made people search for alternatives. And finally, this search was concluded when an artificial fiber resembling silk was synthesized. Hang on, does that mean we find synthetic fiber which is like silk? Of course, yes. And what do we call it? It's known as rayon. Have we come across this fiber? Of course, yes. It has got several daily life applications. From the fabric we use to make various outfits to the bed sheets used by us, it is used in many applications. But if we say that it is synthetic and at the same time has appearance of silk, then how exactly is it made? Let us know this first. It was in the end of the 19th century that the silk availability was a concern due to its extremely high cost. As a result, many chemists began finding an alternative to it. Finally, after many successful attempts to make something close to silk, a type of rayon got introduced in France. In around 1889, a French industrialist named Hilaire de Chardonnay introduced the Chardonnay silk, which was the first.
So, student, like in the France, first of all, the silk was found out and they named it as rayon, and it was discovered by a French scientist, whose name was Hilaire de Chardonnay, and he produced that silk, which is also called as the Chardonnay silk. It is also having the all the qualities which is resembling with the pure silk. Okay.
First ever man-made rayon manufactured at industrial scale. Since then, many varieties have got introduced that have the appearance of silk but are actually rayon. But how do we exactly make such a beautiful fiber? The commencing material is cellulose. Wait a second. Cellulose is what we find in plants, right? Yes. Usually, wooden pulp is used as a source of cellulose. This is converted into soluble compound that is further man-made rayon manufactured at industrial scale. The commencing material is cellulose. Wait a second. Cellulose is what we find in plants, right? Yes. Usually, wooden pulp is used as a source of cellulose. This is converted into soluble compound that is further pressed with force through an instrument having fine holes. What will be the result of this? Yes, thin fibers will be formed. These are further treated with chemicals, and at the end, rayon fibers are obtained.
So, student, have you heard this from, like, have you heard this thing what she's saying? And yes, I was confused about the spelling of Chardonnay. So, because, okay, it happens with everyone sometimes. Okay, so what we have observed that okay, we are getting it from wood pulp, but that wood pulp has been transferred first of all into the fibers by using the machine or in the thread like structure, and from that we get rayon. So, student, can you think that is it correct to call, like, is it correct to say that the rayon is completely man-made fiber? Think about it, because we have the answer in this video, but I want to think about it that okay, so like it is very much is that it is a we are justifying it by calling the rayon as a completely man-made thing, or thing, or a completely synthetic fiber. Think about it. So here we go, and we are getting the answer of it.
Now you may wonder that even if we process it, the starting material still remains natural. The starting material I'm talking about is cellulose. So how can we say that it is synthetic? You are on the correct track. This is exactly why rayon is not considered to be entirely synthetic. In fact, rayon is known to be semi-synthetic. That is partly natural and partly synthetic. Now we have been talking about this artificial silk for quite some time. Can you tell me where exactly we use it? The major use of rayon is in making clothes.
So, students, like you, I think you got your answer that the rayon is not a completely a synthetic fiber. It is a semi-synthetic fiber because we are converting it from the natural resource only. Okay, so that is why we say it as a semi-synthetic fiber, because we are using both thing in this. We are using natural part also. We are using synthetic part also. So that is why, students, rayon is not exactly a synthetic fiber. It is a kind of semi-synthetic fiber. Okay, and even those students, like the rayon is used up in the formation of clothes, like we have already seen this thing, that the rayon is used in the formation of clothes generally to form the pure silk saris, silk suits, or silk shirts. That's how the rayon has been used. And even the rayon is having other uses also. So that's how, students, rayon has been rayon has come into our life, and that's how we are using it in our daily life. Okay, generally we use rayon for the formation of the clothes, okay, that we get for like alternative of the pure silk. Fine, student. So I hope you got understand, or you have some views about rayon now. Exactly. Now moving towards the another. So the another synthetic fiber which we are going to discuss is the nylon. Now students, I hope like so many, even though in the last session also we have discussed so much about the nylon, that the nylon is used in the formation of the ropes, and because of its characteristics, that it is very strong in nature, it is elastic in nature, and that is why nylon is used. Okay, it is a synthetic fiber which we got from coil, water, and air. Okay, so that's how nylon is formed, and nylon is the another type of the synthetic fiber. Fine. So what are the properties or how we are getting it? So we are going to look at that. Okay, so again, I just want to show you one video. Again, one interesting video. So just give me a minute. I'll just show you that video, my students. And I hope you are getting each and everything. Okay. Yeah. So here we go, and we can start with our video.
If I ask you if there's any thread stronger than a steel thread, you would definitely say no. But there is an artificial thread used in fabrics that is stronger than a steel thread. Wait a second. How can a fabric thread be stronger than a steel thread? Let's find out. A miraculous fiber known by the name nylon is what we are referring to. Yes, it is the fiber that is used in several applications, right from making clothes to making durable ropes for trekking. And
See student, now you'll say ma'am how nylon is used for the making clothes. See students, like the nylon is very stronger in nature. Okay, and it is a less absorber of water, and even the student, it is also having a property of fire resistant. That means if any of the case that if there is the fire, so it will work as a fire resistant. That means it will not allow the fire to harm you. So that is how student, in nylon is used in the formation of the clothes as well, but a special type of clothes, such as we can say that the swimming costumes can be made from it. Okay, and the firefighters clothes, the people who go for like the from the fire station, they used to wear the that clothes which are having the layer of nylon, so that they can protect themselves from the fire. So that is how the nylons are used up in the formation of ropes. Like we have discussed it several times till now, and even though I hope you have learned this point, that for the formation of ropes, and that ropes we can use them in our houses, and even though for the rock climbing in our houses, in the rock climbing. So that's how this synthetic fiber has been used. Okay, now again, so please again listen this video.
has always been in great demand. Nylon is the first ever fiber that is completely synthetic. Unlike rayon that uses cellulose as starting material, nylon employs coal, water, and air. But how exactly did nylon come into existence? It was after World War I that an American company started research for making various fabrics that were strong, elastic, and durable. A Harvard professor named Wallace Carothers, along with his team, was successful in inventing a polymer that was highly elastic, very strong, and at the same time extremely durable.
So students, like you have seen that one of the American scientists with his team started preparing the different type of fabrics, and that fabrics, what they find out, they find out one of the polymers. So student, nylon is a polymer, rayon is also a polymer, and I hope you remember that thing that we have discussed about the polymers also. That what are the polymers? That polymers are made up of the small repeating unit that are called as the monomers, and this process is called as the polymerization. Okay, so student, this session is all about the discussing all of the synthetic fibers and about their properties. Okay, so like from the nylon we come to know that it is strong absorber of water, like a less, sorry, I have made one mistake here. It is a less absorber of water. I hope my students can correct my mistake, because I have told you this thing many times that nylon is a absorb a very little amount of water. It is a poor absorber of water, so it absorbs less amount of water. Okay, and it is elastic also in the nature, so that's how this nylon was discovered. Okay, and it is first you can say that the first one completely synthetic fiber.
This was synthesized using basic components like coal, water, and air. So, can you guess what this fiber could be? Yes, it was nylon. However, there were several modifications made later to this piece of work. Nylon was thus the first synthetic fiber produced, as it did not use any natural raw material like plant or animal parts. Can you guess what the first application of nylon was? It was used for making toothbrush bristles. However, later it was widely used for making ropes used for climbing mountains and also in making parachutes. As years passed by, there were several modifications made in nylon. What did this lead to? It helped increase its applications. Soon, nylon was also employed for clothing. Its appearance, along with the transparent nature, was useful in making several varieties of clothes. Characters like lightweight, shiny appearance, along with the ease.
So students, have you seen that the nylon is having so many of uses, like it is a less absorber of water, and I have also told you this thing that it is used in the formation of the umbrella as well, that we are getting umbrella which is made up of the nylon fiber only. That is why the umbrella we used in the rainy season, that if I ask you to carry the cotton umbrella, so is it possible you to, if there is rainy season and you can carry a cotton umbrella? Exactly, no, because cotton umbrella will not allow, like it will not going to protect you there. It's raining, and if you are carrying a cotton umbrella, and what will happen, students, that all of the water coming to you. Exactly. So that's how we have modified the nylon fiber so many times, and then we are getting it so many characteristics, that even though the costumes are made from it, because it is of the lightweight, it is having, we can say that, a shiny appearance, and it is also very easy to carry. And that's how umbrellas, you can think that the umbrellas are not having very so much of weight, they are also very lightweight. Exactly, that we can even carry in our hands, we can carry those umbrella in our bags also. That's how, student, you can see that the umbrellas are used up so much in rainy season, and that's how you get protect from the rain also, that even a single drop of water can't come out from that umbrella. But if your umbrella is having a hole, so the nylon fiber can't help it. Exactly. So, like, if your umbrella is completely fine, and you are carrying it in a rainy season, so you are protecting yourself from rain. So that's how the nylon is used up. I hope you got these two synthetic fiber. But rayon is not completely synthetic. Rayon is semi synthetic, but nylon is completely synthetic fiber. Okay, so nylon are having so many uses, like making clothes, making parachutes, ropes, toothbrush, seat belts, tents, curtains. Like tents, again you can see that the tent, whenever we are going for some outing, and if we are like putting up the tent there, so the tent are also made up of some kind of plastic material, but it is not exactly plastic, it is made up of the nylon, so that whether the wind, or you can say that rain or something like that, will not affect your place if you are living there. Okay, so nylon is one of the thing that we can use. So these are the two of the synthetic fiber which we have discussed till now. Coming to the next type of fiber, so it is terylene, students. Now the terylene is the artificial textile fibers that is made up of that is the polyester. Now what's the different thing about the terylene? Like in the picture you can see that it is also somewhat of the you can say that it is light, but its texture looks like that it is somewhat heavy in nature. Even though if you wear the clothes of terylene, they will not get creased, like you don't have to iron them again and again. So they are generally used to made up the clothes, like clothes like bed sheets, because you can imagine that we always sit on our beds on bed sheets, and like if we sleep on them, so they can get creased. But even though they are not having any crease, we don't need to iron our bed sheets. So that is why it's the reason that we use terylene at such places where we don't want to iron such type of clothes, like bed sheets are there, curtains are there, also we don't have to iron them again and again. So that is why terylene is produced at that time, so that we have one type of the fabric, so that we don't have to iron it again and again. Imagine, see students, you can also see this thing, like in your house you can ask your mother to get you one of the cotton clothes and one of the like terylene cotton bed sheet, because yes, there are cotton bed sheets also, so you can ask your mother to give you one cotton bed sheet for one day and terylene bed sheet for one day. So you can find out the imagine, like after sleeping and when you are waking up in the morning, so the cotton bed sheet is somewhat creased, that it is almost guchul puchul. Got my point? But the terylene bed sheet is going to be completely plain, it will not have any a single crease. That is why we use such type of fiber in our daily life. So the one of the synthetic fiber is terylene, student. Okay, I hope you got my point. Fine. Now coming to the another type of the, so Orlon. Students, we can say this thing that the Orlon is also called as the acrylic fiber. Like you can see from the picture that Orlon is resembling with the wool. Okay, so again the question come here, that if I ask you one of the question that what is the artificial wool, so you can say that like similarly artificial silk is rayon, so the artificial wool is acrylic fiber. It is the artificial wool. It is having that tendency that it can keep you warm. It is a lightweight in nature, and it is also very, you can say that very soft. So that is why students, like whenever any small child is there in our house, that if it is of 1 year or less than 1 year, so we usually find out the clothes for them which are made up of this fiber. Because if we talk about pure wool, so that pure wool somewhat it is like sometimes we feel itchiness from it. Exactly, if you have like if any of the time you have wear the woolen clothes which is made up of pure wool, it is very warm in nature, but sometimes we get itchiness from it, that it is not that much comfortable. So for that comfortableness we generally used to go up for the orlon type of clothes or the artificial wools, because they are shiny in nature. We get more design in it, we look more cool in it. And you know this thing, that what we want to look cool every time. It is not like I'm wearing this hood here right now, but it is not made up of woolen part. It is not a woolen fabric. Woolen fabric, we can see that if you can see that if you are going to any of the shop and you are purchasing woolen clothes, so you are not getting pure woolen clothes. Okay, you are getting the clothes which is made up of orlon only. So why we used it as the alternate of the woolen like because wool is made up of from, like wool we get from natural animal, like natural resource it is. And the natural resource for the wool, what it is, sheep, that from the sheep we are getting it, not sheep, it is sheep, because sheep is that, and sheep from which we get wool. Okay, so like we get it from sheeps. And that is why we can say that like we are taking their clothes, and it's not a good thing that to take clothes from someone else's body and we are covering up. Okay, so that is why student scientists again discover one of the things, so that we can use at the alternate of the wool, which is also having the same characteristics of wool, so that it will warm, it will be easy to handle, it is also of lightweight. And that is how orlon comes, or the acrylic fiber come. Okay, so we can see here that the acrylic fiber is a strong lightweight synthetic fiber that resembles wool. And it is also having, like I have told you this thing, that it is having so many colors, it is more durable, so many designs you are getting it. So that is why acrylic we use generally as a artificial wool. Okay, and even the acrylic fiber, fabric, plastic, even though you have heard about this thing that in the ads it comes at the acrylic paint, so that acrylic fiber is used up in the paint also, that is made up of from acrylic acid. Okay, so acrylic paints, like if you have heard from the tvs that we are doing acrylic paints in our house, it is shiny in nature. So that's how student. Okay, so like how we can use it, we use it as the woolens or the fur clothes if we are getting garments. So that's how. So we are going to look at one of the video for the acrylic fiber as well. Okay, acrylic. Actually, student, it happened with me. Like I sometimes got confused. Like For the spellings, acrylic fiber. Okay, so acrylic fibers is having the different name which is called as the artificial wool. Okay, so it is having like, what are the characteristic of it? If I ask you that, like, it is warm in nature first of all, because if it is a wool, artificial wool, so it should be warm in nature. It is lightweight so that we can carry it easily. It is also like, because students like the clothes which I like to wear in the winter season, it should be warm first of all. Exactly. And second thing, it should be soft in nature, because by wearing the soft clothes we feel like a very like good feeling is there. So that's why it is durable and soft also. Okay, so these are the we can say that some of advantages. Now students, there is one of the video for the acrylic fiber also, and I'm going to show you that video, and I hope you will like that video as well. I hope my students are not getting bored of me. That what mom is teaching to us? Acrylic fiber, that fiber, or this fiber. But after completing this chapter, na, you will become a completely fabric person. How, like, you are as I already told you, you are going to purchase silk, and if the shopkeeper is giving that silk sari in 2000 rupees, you'll say, that it is not a pure silk, because you know this thing that the pure silk is costly. Okay, but it's not like that, that every time the pure silk is about 8,000, 9,000. It can be. Okay, so don't worry about it. So starting with our video, are you ready to look at this video? Okay. Oh my god. Okay.
To protect us against cold winters, we wear sweaters and shawls and use blankets. Do you know that many of these are actually not made from natural wool, though they appear to resemble wool? You would be wondering how these are prepared then. Well, these are prepared from acrylic fibers. These are synthetic fibers made from polyacrylonitrile. Acrylic is lightweight, soft, and warm, with a wool-like feel. Can you think of any advantage of acrylic fiber over wool? The wool obtained from natural resources is quite expensive, whereas clothes made from acrylic are relatively cheaper. Besides this, they are available in a variety of colors. The disadvantages are that the acrylic tends to fuzz easily, and that it does not insulate the wearer as well as wool or cashmere.
So students, like, from this, looking at this video, what you observe, that the wool, alternate of the wool, because wool is pure wool which we are getting from sheep. They are very expensive, or not that very expensive, but yes, expensive than the artificial wool. So that's why we make it from acrylic fibers which are having different colors. Sorry students. So that's why acrylic fibers are also like acrylic. I have told you this thing, that the acrylic fibers are converting into acrylic acid. That acrylic acid is also there, which is used up in the paints, that the paints which we are having in our houses, on our walls or roofs or something like that. So that is why we are having colorful paints. Exactly, like the color which we want, we can get it easily, because it's the advantage in the case of the acrylic fibers, that we can get many colors and many designs as compared to the pure wool. Okay, so that's the advantage we are looking at, and it is lightweight, and it is also giving the same warmness which we are getting from the pure wool. That is why in nowadays generally people go for the artificial things, because they are not that much expensive. They are cheaper, or they can like we can afford them very easily, and even though they are easily available also. So that is how student, all of these characteristics of the synthetic fiber, like you can say that the synthetic fiber is ruling nowadays, that over natural fibers. But it's not like that, that the natural fibers are not having their own importance. They also have their own importance. Got my point? It's not like that natural fibers are not having any importance. They are having their own importance. It's just that due to their some characteristics, like they are more durable, they are last longing, they are having same texture of it. That is why we are going for it. Okay, we are finding so many advantages in the less cost, so we are going for it. Okay, so these are the fibers which are included in your syllabus. Like what it is, the rayon, which is the artificial silk. And if we talk about artificial wool, it is acrylic fiber. Okay, and then if someone asks you that whether rayon is a completely synthetic fiber, so you will say no, exactly no, because rayon is not a completely synthetic fiber, it is a semi synthetic fiber. Because the source which we are getting for the rayon, it is the cellulose which we get from the wood pulp, and that cellulose is transferred into the form of the fibers by using threads, by using machines or some of the chemicals, something like that, and then we get our artificial silk. But the first, if someone is going to ask you that which is the first completely synthetic fiber, so the name is nylon. Okay, so that's how these are the synthetic fiber which has been included in your syllabus, and I hope you understand all of them. Okay, so coming to some questions now. That okay, so it is the mark the correct answer. Rayon is different from synthetic fiber because it has a silk like appearance. It is obtained from wood pulp. Its fibers can also be woven like those of natural fibers. So why rayon is different from synthetic fiber? I hope you can get the answer for it. Are you getting the answer? It's not that much difficult. See, rayon, as I've already told you, that the rayon is an artificial silk, but it is not completely synthetic fiber. It is a semi-synthetic fiber because we are getting its source from the natural resource, which is the wood pulp. So that is why rayon is different from the synthetic fiber. So the answer for this question is that it is obtained from the wood pulp. So the correct option is B here. Okay, it is obtained from wood pulp. Now, next question. Give example which indicate that nylon fibers are very strong. I hope students, like we have discussed it 10 times till now, that what are the advantages of nylon, and now you are able to write down at least 2 3 points about it, like why nylon is considered as a very strong fiber. So the answer is that yes, we use it for the making parachutes. We use the ropes of the nylons for the rock climbing. In the very starting of the session, I have already mentioned this thing, that you can imagine that the rope which we are using to climb the rope, you can think about it that how strong it can be. Because if it is not strong, so how you are going to climb the rope? You are never going to climb the rope. It's just that you will fall down. Okay, so that is why students, it is very strong in nature. And because like we are using it in the rock climbing and the parachutes, and even though in seat belts, fishing nets, string for sports rackets, musical instruments, so many things are there. So that which we can observe that the nylon fibers are very strong in nature. Okay, so that's how students, we have completed with the part of the synthetic fiber. And in the next session we are going to the chapter is about synthetic fiber and plastics. So till now we have discussed each and everything about synthetic fiber, that what are the synthetic fibers, or their advantages, their disadvantages. Do you remember any of the disadvantage we have discussed in the last class? That disadvantage is, a student, if I tell you that it is about if you remember that video again of that girl and her mother and her brother, that her mother didn't allow her brother to wear the terracotta clothes on Diwali, because terracotta, like the clothes which are made up of terracotta fiber, they catches fire easily. So that can be a disadvantage also. Exactly. So that is how students, the synthetic fiber has been completed, and in the next session we are going to study about plastics. So my dear students, it's my request to you that keep learning from IITians, and I hope you are getting each and everything, and you are like, I am trying to give you best examples so that you can understand them easily. And if some little mistake is there, so just I hope you can ignore it, or because I'm trying very hard to make mention each and everything. Okay, and even though if any doubt, any question can come in your comes to your mind, you can write down that question on the public forum as well as on the private forum, depending upon your account. So that's how you can post your question on the forum, and you will get the answer easily, and that's how your problems will get resolved. Fine, students. So thank you so much for watching this video, and please study more, stay safe. Thank you, and we'll meet in our next session. Thank you, students.